stand to receive the Town Mayor of Biddle, Councillor Nigel Yates, the Deputy Town Mayor of Biddle, Councillor Adrian Lawton, and the Chief Officer, Mrs. Sarah Hayden. I call upon Pastor Liz Holcroft to offer a prayer for tonight's meeting.
Galatians 6:10. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all, especially to those who are of the household of faith. Father God, I thank you for this group of people gathered in this room. And I thank you, Lord, for our town council. I thank you for 50 years of faithful service to this town. Lord, that we have a town that we can truly be proud of. Lord God, I just pray as they discuss important issues, as they try to make improvements to our experience here in Biddle, Lord God, and the wonderful things that we can do. Lord, I just pray that there'll just be a real clarity. Lord, pray, Lord God, that there'll be a real unity. Lord, I pray, Lord God, that it can be an actual joy, Lord, to serve in this area, Lord God. And I pray that they'll be recognised by the town for the amazing work that they do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Good evening, everybody. We'll just start with the usual preamble. This meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Biddle Town Council YouTube page. The aim is that decision making should be transparent and in the public domain, which will involve more of our local community and democracy. By being in this council chamber, you are consenting to being recorded and your image will be added to YouTube. The images and sound may be used for training purposes. Any views expressed are the speaker's own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Biddle Town Council. Please view the guidance on recording and public meetings policy if you need more information. Thank you very much. So if we move on to today's agenda, just like to confirm before we start that anybody in attendance will be named in the minutes unless otherwise instructed. First item on the agenda is public participation and Staffordshire Police. I have been informed that there is not a representative of Staffordshire Police available because of some ongoing incident which they're dealing with at this moment in time. But if anybody has got any specific issues which would require raising, if you can make a note of them, pass them to the Chief Officer, we'll get a response back with you in writing in due course. That's okay. So moving on. The next item is to receive a presentation from Craig Brown, Chief Executive Officer and Citizens Advice, Staffordshire North and Stoke-on-Trent. Now, this is a separate agenda item outside of public participation, so there's no specific time limit on this. But being conscious that there's a lot of members present after the presentation, to be one question per member, and if pertinent, one should allow for a comeback. That way we'll get to the debate. But if you can just be conscious of no repetition of questions, then hopefully we'll get everything covered properly and in a timely manner. So over to you, Craig, if you don't mind.
Many thanks, and I promise not to take up too much of your time this evening, but thank you very much for inviting me along to speak to you a little bit about the work we've been doing in Biddle over the course of the last 12 months. As you know, I'm Craig Brown, and I probably need to get out of the habit now of saying I'm the new Chief Exec of Citizens Advice North Staffordshire. I've been in post for about 4 months, so it still feels relatively new, but there are some people in the organisation that have been there more than 25 years, so I'm still new by comparison with them, certainly. And like you, I do have a background in local government. Indeed, I am still an elected member at Cheshire East Council, and I'm a parish councillor too. So, but as a local charity, we remain very grateful for your support, and I hope that what I'm going to say over the course of the next few minutes will just help to give you a flavour of the many ways in which we're using your funding to help make a difference to the lives of your residents and indeed your communities as well. So if I just very briefly begin by sort of giving an overview of what we do as an organisation and how we're organised across 4 key delivery areas. The first of those being core advice or core services, which includes generalist advice, which we of course deliver out of Biddulph Town Hall, as well as across other locations across North Staffordshire, as well as benefits advice, help to claim, housing, immigration, and refugee and asylum support as well. We also deliver money advice, which includes dealing with debt relief orders, and also money management and budgeting. We also have the Staffordshire Victim Gateway and Restorative Justice Service that includes working with, but not exclusive to, victims of crime, domestic violence, violence against the person, and sometimes even sexual exploitation as well. And then finally, we've got consumer advice, which includes general consumer advice, as well as energy advice. And just to give you a bit of an example of what that involves, last year we supported a middle-aged gentleman with learning difficulties who'd had his energy supply cut off because he didn't understand either the bills or the letters that the energy companies were sending out to him. So we were able to advocate on his behalf and get him reconnected by negotiating with the energy company on his behalf. So that sort of falls under consumer advice. But move on. So I thought it might be helpful to just set out how the funding you've provided has enabled us to help and support the residents that you represent. So last year, for example, 385 residents of Biddulph approached us for support, of whom 280 went on to access more detailed specialist advice and information from us. And I don't know whether you can see from the slide, I don't know whether the graphic is big enough or not, but the highest proportion of residents who came to see us were from Biddulph East and Biddulph West, which of course you'll be aware happen to be the two areas of the town where deprivation is also at its highest levels. But by far the most common issue that Biddulph residents presented with last year was seeking help with benefits and universal credit in particular. Last year we helped over 200 people who were seeking help claiming. The second most popular issue that people presented with was personal debt, followed by financial services, and then, as I've said earlier, help with energy or utility companies that are dealt with through our consumer service. And while half of the residents contacted us either by telephone or by email, 16% also approached us face to face with around 350 different issues, so approximately one different issue for every day of the year. And we also know that during the first 3 months of this year, about 22% of the people who contacted our help to claim team couldn't use a computer or didn't have access to the internet. And I think this really helps to highlight the importance of us retaining a physical presence in Biddulph, as well as the other communities. So thank you for allowing us to use the town hall as a base from which to deliver some of our services. Drilling a bit further down into the issues that Biddulph residents are coming to speak to us about, we can see that personal independence payments are the most common issue, but that's closely followed by fuel poverty and financial capability. Most of our individual clients, and that's the ones that present with one particular issue, need our help with localised social welfare or debt assessments. However, the frequency with which they then present with one of the top three issues helps to show just how complex some of those cases can be. And again, we think this helps to emphasise the need for the assistance that we provide, especially as some research that's just been published by Lloyds Bank, their Digital Consumer Index, shows that people who don't have access to digital skills or the internet tend to be as much as £900 a year worse off. Because, for example, they don't have the ability to go on price comparison sites to get the best deal that might be available to them. So in terms of the difference that your funding helped to make last year, 63 residents collectively were £126,000, nearly £127,000 better off after having accessed our help than they were before they contacted us. So that's an average of just over £2,000 per resident. And of course, that often has a knock-on effect, doesn't it? But because it means there's an extra £127,000 available to residents for them to spend in the local economy. It also means that 63 fewer residents are queuing up at your door or in your reception area, should I say, seeking hardship assistance. So through what we call income gain support, we helped further 17 local residents to claim an extra £36,279 in benefits that they were entitled to receive, but for whatever reason, and it's usually a lack of awareness, they haven't been claiming for. So I'd just like to finish off by sharing two case studies with you. The first one, hopefully this will help to just bring some of the statistics that I've shared with you to life and give them a little bit more meaning. And I should say that although, of course, we've withheld the names of the individuals in order to protect their identities, these are real stories about your residents. And we were able to get this first person, a former soldier, his pension, first of all, paid at the right level. He'd been missing out on £8.20 a week before coming in to see us. Might not sound much to some of us, but actually it all adds up, doesn't it, over the course of a year. We were able to track his pension from when he'd served in the army and explain how he could claim that as well. Again, something that he'd paid into and was entitled to. And we've also helped him to claim pension credit and attendance allowance, both of which he was entitled to, but again, hadn't claimed due to a lack of awareness. So this 66-year-old war veteran, well, army veteran, should I say, is now nearly £10,000 a year better off, thanks to the support that we've been able to provide him with the help of your funding. And my second example is of a young working mother who has a 10-year-old baby, sorry, 10-month-old baby, and had been living in private rented accommodation, but had received a Section 21 notice to leave for non-payment of rent. She then received a further email saying that she owed a further £2,000 in rent arrears due to an increase in rent in 2022 that she hadn't been made aware of at the time. And the outcome of this case study was that the young lady recently returned to work after being on maternity leave, and clearly she'd been in a very vulnerable and challenging financial position. And through our specialist housing team, what we were able to do was negotiate with the landlord's agent on her behalf. And the matter, as a result of that, is now resolved. And I'm pleased to say that both mother and baby have been able to remain within their home. So that's great, because they've not been made homeless and they've not had to go out and look for alternative accommodation. That's all I have to share with you. I did promise that I'd be brief, but if anybody has any questions, I'll be delighted to take them. I should add that I'm not an advisor, so I might need to take some of them away, depending on how technical your questions are. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Hodges wants to first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, thanks for that presentation. I must admit, I don't honestly know a big lot about citizens' advice, but it's nice to hear what you do. Quick question. Do you think you've got more or less or about the same people since you've moved to Biddulph Town Hall visiting on a weekly basis? Or don't you know that one?
So because I've only 4 months into the role, I don't know how many people saw last year, sorry, as opposed to the year before. but I can take that one away and come back to you with a response.
Yeah, it'd just be interesting to know, really, not actual figures, but if it's, you know, if it's easy for people to come to the town hall, I feel sorry for them, but it'd be nice to know that, though, really, that they find it better to come to the town hall. As simple as that. Thank you.
I can say that the service generally across North Staffordshire has certainly been growing over the last 3 or 4 years, but I'll come back to the specifics on middle.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for the presentation, really interesting. First, could we perhaps have the presentation sent to everybody, because it wasn't very easy to see all those figures. That'd be really useful. I think that, yeah, okay.
That's fine.
For councillors actually to see, you know, I think we all believe what the CAB does here in town, but to actually see those stark figures, what our this year £20,000 in grant actually brings back how many times over to the residents of Middleton is really an important thing. A couple of things. I saw a presentation last night where one of the local food banks was at a district council meeting, and they had a connection with CAB, where CAB went to the food bank and met their clients there. Now, I've been sort of pushing for a little bit that CAB do a third session here in the town, if, you know, capability allowed. But I think perhaps something a bit more of outreach might be a little bit more productive, because obviously people going to food banks probably have got many other issues that you know that they are there for that reason at the food bank, is because there's a lot of other issues going. And I think secondly, CAB nationally do a lot of incredible work where they gather a load of information from all the districts, put it in a big paper and present it to government and say, look, this is a major issue. Your legislation has had this effect, whatever that might be. Are CAB doing any, or have they done any work on the 2-child cap, benefit cap? Because I think now would be a really good time to present something to central government to say how many children could be lifted out of poverty if this 2-child benefit cap was lifted. Thank you.
Thank you for the questions. On the first one, we do already work with some banks. We have actually applied for a grant from the Trussell Trust to run a pilot working with food banks, not just in this area.
Banks, not Trussell Trust.
But with other food banks, not just in North Staffordshire, but across the whole county as well. We're waiting to hear the outcome of that, but that will be a pilot project. On the matter of the 2-child benefit cap, I'm not sure whether the National Charity have yet produced anything or lobbied on that. What I can say at local level is, obviously we had an election last week, as you will be aware. I've taken the opportunity to invite each of the MPs that represents the area we cover in for a meeting, so that I've got an opportunity to lobby them personally.
Thanks, Andrew.
Councillor Green.
Yeah, can I declare an interest that I'm on the board of trustees at CAB?
Councillor Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Craig, for the presentation. I've always been a massive fan of Citizens Advice Bureau, going back to when in Stoke-on Mike Wolf was the chief executive, I think, at the time, many moons ago. I think we certainly for the Staffordshire Moorlands with the district council, we've just adopted the CAB protocol on council tax, because there was an issue where the district council were sending bailiffs out to properties. And these are the people who are most in need, in dire straits, in cost of living crisis, whatever, haven't paid the council tax and are in arrears. And the council was somewhat compounding that issue by sending bailiffs out, and the charge the bailiffs used to levy on the independent residents was, you know, it's just making the situation worse. And thankfully, you know, with the help of the CAB, we signed up to the protocol, and we had a meeting this morning, and the relationship, I think, between the Staffordshire Moorlands District Council, you know, is a really positive one with the Citizens Advice Bureau, and I'd like to thank you on that. And certainly, it came over last night in the presentation, as Kev's touched on, from the Leak Food Bank. that the work that CAB is invaluable. You know, the cost of living crisis isn't going away anytime soon. And the work that you provide for these residents and advice, because a lot of these people are in desperate need of, you know, they sort of gone up a blind alley, they don't know where to go. And CAB is that outlet, it's that crutch to assist them to find a way through their, you know, whether it be personal or financial issues. And I'm just, from my own point of view, I'd just like to thank you, Craig, and the work that CAB do. And I'm glad that the town council are carrying on supporting that.
Thank you, that's much appreciated. I was about to give thanks for answering my facts. Policies.
Councillor Smith.
Thank you again for the presentation. Just got two questions. Firstly, on funding. So grants that are provided sort of by Biddulph Town Council or Leeds Town Council, are they earmarked specifically for the CAB branches that are in those towns? That was my first question. And the second question was, last year we had a mobile van in Biddulph East, at Biddulph East and Community Zone, was really well utilised. And I think from an outreach perspective was great to get it somewhere that was more accessible, especially on Biddulph East, given those figures. Just really a question to see is if that will be coming back again, any regular sessions.
The questions on the first one. Yes, the grant that you provide to us is used to support the service that we deliver here in Biddulph and the Temple. On the second one, I'm not sure because I obviously wasn't imposed at the time that service was being delivered. But what I can say is we've been looking at bidding to establish a permanent mobile service, which will help us with that community outreach in many of the towns of North Staffordshire and permanent presence. So best thing I can say on that one is watch this space. It is something that we're working on, and we are hoping to make it a permanent mobile facility.
Councillor Fox.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And as everybody said, thank you very much for the presentation. Just one quick, well, actually, it's just some clarification, but it's all positive. You mentioned the 63 residents, and I think you might be selling yourself a little bit short here, because I think on a personal level, I know that must be families, and then that must be children. So actually, how many people are benefiting, and I'm particularly interested in children are benefiting from those 63 residents. And maybe with that, something that could be going into the figures, we could actually see how many people in total, including children, are benefiting from the work that you're doing.
As a family.
Yes, as a family unit.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. Most likely there will be families. We can only count the person that comes through the door, and they got to our database, which then gets fed into the national database. But you're absolutely right, we probably are underselling ourselves.
Councillor Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Craig, again, all I'll do is echo the comments of my colleagues. You mentioned earlier on, Craig, about restorative justice. What is the CAB's involvement in restorative justice? Because I know I did it for 7 years. Is this a recent thing with CAB? Mine was in the city, by the way, not in the county area. So
it's due to a contract that we hold that was led by the police and crime commissioner. My understanding is we've held it for the last 2 years, could be 3 years, but obviously again it predates my joining the charity. But it is up for re-tender this autumn. So the current contract runs until the end of March next year. We fully expect to bid for it. Obviously, I hope it'll be successful, but at this stage, I don't know.
if I may, just for clarification, what do you actually do? What is your actual involvement in restorative justice?
So the police refer to us anybody that has been a victim of crime across, and again, this is a county-wide service, so we deliver it in partnership with Citizens Advice, Staffordshire South East and South West. So the police refer people who've been victims of crime, and then they come to us for support and advice.
Thank you very much, Craig. Mr Mayor, thank you.
Right, thank you. Just a point of clarification coming back on one of Councillor Jackson's comments is that the local food banks use the services of Moneywise to give advice. And again, just a question from me. Would you be able to offer an additional service to Moneywise, or a complementary service or a competing service, so to speak?
I don't know enough about Moneywise to fully answer your question, but I suspect we can certainly complement what they do. Wouldn't necessarily want to compete with somebody who was already established in the local area, but we certainly look to work with them.
Yes, that was my sort of thinking. If it's something which could complement and actually add to that, perhaps that's something which we should, take forward to something like that. So we can take forward. Right, that's everything from the floor. Thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you very much for the comprehensive answers, and finally, thank you very much for everything you do for the residents of the village.
Many thanks, and thank you for inviting me, and thank you for your continued support. Thank you. Thank you, members. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, there was a really cool how we organised the microphone system. I don't know whether you've been able to hear me at the back, but I'll try my best. Right, thank you. Yes. Okay, going on to the meeting as normal. Item 15 is apologies. Do we have any apologies?
Do Councillor Salt, Hawley and Jones.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 16, declarations of interest. Item 8, to declare any disclosable pecuniary interests and or dispensations. Councillor Smith.
Just note that I mentioned in the payments at the end of the accounts.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Rogers.
That's right, just a small travel expense of 90 a week, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And to declare any other disclosable interests. Councillor Harper.
It's just similar to Charlie, really. I mentioned in the expenses, but thank you.
So disclosable interests, has anybody? No? Okay, thank you. So moving on, we are looking at the minutes. So the first set of minutes is the Town Council. So if we can go through those: in attendance, 1, public participation, 2, apologies, 3, declarations of interest, 4, minutes, 5, mayor communications, 6, standing agenda items, 7, receiving an update on outside bodies, 8, annual return, 9, confirm recommendations from the annual town meeting, 10, to confirm revised approach to public participation, 11, to confirm changes to standing order recommended at the financial strategy management meeting, 12 was the accounts, A and B, and there was 1 confidential item. Can I have a proposer to accept those minutes? Councillor Crowdlove, seconded by Councillor Garvey. Sorry. Can I have a show of hands, please, to accept that? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. So moving on to the minutes of I'll sign those.
I move those minutes, please.
Certainly can. Councillor Hart. My sticky hands. No, it isn't. Okay, excellent. And the recreation and community meetings, here we are. So present, in attendance, election of chair and deputy chair, item 2, apologies, item 3, declarations of interest, item 4, minutes, item 5, memorial testing, Item 6, to receive a presentation on development of the new Garden of Remembrance. Item 7, to consider an item reference highways concerns on Halls Road. Item 8, jobs for a lensman. Item 9, item requested by Councillor Holsworth regarding Halls Road, which was carried forward. And confidential items were items number 10. So they are being proposed by Councillor Hart. Can I have a seconder from Councillor Parks? And can I have a show of hand accepting those minutes? That appears unanimous. Thank you very much. Minutes of the Planning Committee held on Tuesday, the 18th of June.
I move those minutes, please.
Moved by Councillor Garvey. We'll just go through them. Present, in attendance, 10 apologies, 11 declarations of interest, 12 minutes, 13 standard agenda items to consider any proposed sites for local listings, 14 to receive an update on the Biddulph planning applications where there has been referenced a neighbourhood plan, 15 new planning applications, 16 supplementary applications, 17 new decisions and notices, and there were no appeals. So they've been proposed by Councillor Garvey. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Smith, can I have a show of hands to accept those? They've been accepted unanimously. Thank you very much. So moving on to the minutes of the Town and Community Committee meeting, also held on Tuesday, the 18th of June. Present.
Move those, please.
Certainly, Councillor Smith. Present, in attendance, 11 apologies, 12 declarations of interest, 13 minutes of previous meeting, 14 to receive an update in relation to the Station Road Bench project, 15 Christmas, big subject, wasn't it? 16 to receive a verbal update on 2024 events. So they've been moved by Councillor Smith. Can we have a seconder, please? Councillor Garvey. Sorry. And can I have a show of hands, please? Those are being accepted unanimously. Thank you very much. And finally, minutes of the Finance Strategy Management Committee meeting held on Tuesday, the 25th of June, 2024.
Ask you to move them minutes forward, please.
Yes, we are present, in attendance, 17 apologies, 18 declarations of interest, 19 minutes of previous meeting, 20 accounts matters, 21 strategic direction, 22 receive an update on the shared prosperity funding, 23 standing agenda items, and confidential items 24 to confirm arrangements for the development of the town hall frontage, 25 to note the value of free room hire for Biddulph festival events, 26 quotations, 27 grants. Can I have a seconder for those minutes, please? Yes.
Thank you.
Councillor Harper.
Yeah, it says here all agreed. I didn't agree. So that's an incorrect statement.
Okay. Got that noted?
At the very last point.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Rogers.
Yeah, you've had it all tabled, just in case you haven't seen that. That's a slight amendment of what's in your pack, the actual payment of in bloom. Thank you very much.
Does that mean noted?
It's on your supplementary account.
Right, so it's amended on the supplementary account.
Yeah, so that's correct.
Okay, so can I have a seconder to accept those minutes, please? It's Councillor Hart. Can I have a show of hands accepting those minutes? Are you accepting those minutes?
No, yeah,
The record,
I bet.
the amendment. Okay, that's been changed. So that's accepted. So Councillor Rogers proposed, Councillor Hart seconded. Yep, okay, we are good to go. Just bear with me. Lovely. Thank you very much. So moving on to Mayor's communications. as a general communication with my other hat on, and I will get with this very quickly, there is a newsletter coming out on highways every month and in a month's time. So that'll be an update which we can distribute to everybody, and that should give you the information which you require about movements on highways, which is always pertinent. What I will say is, as you can imagine, June into July, being the summer months, has been extremely busy, and there's been some absolutely fantastic events which we've done and gone on. On the first Saturday, on the 15th, there was a community garden event with the following the arson attack and the refurbishment of the garden at Biddulph Youth and Community Zone, and that was very, very well attended. The weather wasn't fine, but the event was absolutely wonderful, and it was good to see all the enthusiasm there. There was also the spring fair at the Catholic Church next door, which made it very convenient from a travelling point of view. And then we had an absolute fantastic event for those who attended, the Wells Racing at Biddulph Moor, including the inaugural dog show, Woof, which went down very well. The following week we had Armed Forces flag raising day in Leek, which Councillor Parks was there, and that was a good event, wasn't it? Went very positive. We had the Biddulph Civic Prayer Breakfast later in the week, which was extremely well evented and a very good, very jolly event. And I think that was welcomed by everybody who attended. We had Councillor Garvey and Sue, the ex-mayoress, running the Kate Textile Craft Fair, and followed by a speaker in the town hall on the history wardrobe, which was very, very well attended, oversubscribed, I may add, and very, very entertaining. We had a pretty low-key, quiet and extremely strictly organised civic service, which went through reasonably okay.
It was excellent.
Thank you. It was fun, wasn't it? You know, put some life into it, so I enjoyed that. We had to endure a play for today, swings and roundabouts, but it was very, very good, very impressive. And I didn't know we had such talented singers from the town hall staff. So very pleased to see that. Excellent, that was. That's very well. I'm looking forward to the next one, which is in a week's time or so, isn't it? So we're looking forward to that. Yes, I'm still waiting for my part to be written, by the way, but that's another story. Yes, yes. So we then had the Biddulph Churches Together Cafe, which heralded the start of the Biddulph Festival. And we had the festival parade and march and Biddulph by the Sea, which despite the odd heavy shower, was very well received by the town residents and went down really well, a really good positive affair. And there was the two choirs for one at Biddulph Methodist Chapel, which I attended. I have to give me apologies about not being able to go to the Biddulph Male Voice Choir, which was on at the high school at the same time, but I can't split myself. And then we had the Open Gardens and the Flower Festival, which was absolutely superb for those who managed to get round to Hilltop Methodist and see all the open gardens. They were an absolute credit to the town and a credit to the hard work which our gardeners put in. And then moving forward, as you all know, there's a very, very extensive programme with the Biddulph Festival. So I hope everybody's got a copy of their festival sheet, and I hope everybody's able to attend the events as we move forward. I don't particularly want to single any of them out because it's such a comprehensive programme and we'd be here all night. But I do recommend that everybody goes on the Biddulph Town Council website or gets hold of a copy of this from the Town Council and attends as many of these absolute superb events as is possible. And so endeth the communication for today. So moving on to standard agenda items. To receive an update on the management of Town Council assets.
Thank you. As you know, we've got a number of kind of leases and license extensions and that sort of thing outstanding. There is no update on those, but I continue to chase. I believe they're all kind of with the District Council legal team.
Yes, I think that's a fair assessment, to be honest. They've gone through the process as far as the officers can do. And yeah, absolutely. To receive an update on the health and safety activities, which includes any risk assessments which are done.
Yeah, so since we last met, we've had the fire risk assessment done for the visitor centre. No red flags there. There are a couple of tasks for us to complete, so we need to do some strimming around one of the back doors, but it's the workshop bit which is currently not used. That's no problem though. The electrical installation condition report, this is the first time we've done that on this building, so that has to be done every 5 years. I think that's a bit of a challenging process. That's being done this week to try and work out where things are connected to and whether recommendations from last time have been completed or not. But we're going through that process, so I'll share that report with you as soon as possible. I think you're aware that there were some issues with the installation of some of the new fire doors. So we've had the people here who installed those, and they recognise those issues, so they will be rectified imminently.
Thank you. And finally, to receive an update on the Biddle Works Together project.
Yep, so those of you who were in attendance know that we met last Wednesday on the 3rd of July. There was some discussion about holiday activities. The groups got things going on during the summer months, either through funding from space, I think a lot of them are doing that, or doing their additional activities kind of on top of what they would normally provide. So there seems to be quite a lot going on in the town for young people. In terms of what we're doing, we've got our family cinema activity, and then just as an aside, actually, we're doing the big clothes movement. It's coming here at the end of July, so that's an opportunity for people to get a great big bag of clothes for not a lot of money. That's a good option.
Thank you. Moving on, item 20, to receive an update on outside body meetings attended since the June 24 meeting. So update only, Councillor Rogers.
Thank you. Just briefly, I went over to the Fire Assembly with Councillor Harper last week. Wasn't a big meeting in many ways. This, what I mentioned before, where they want officers of the clerks, etc., gathering together. We're going to work on that for daytime meetings. So officers like our chief officer possibly attend in the daytime. That's going forward. And they want to base it on a task and finish basics. Don't want it as a talking group. We want to get things done and finished on that one. Just very quickly on another one, which doesn't really affect us, but all the members of planning applications had to leave the room because a representative from Bagnall come along, which isn't that far off us really. Just to enlighten you very slightly, there's proposed 85,000 solar panels going in that area, 662 battery packs the size of shipping containers. So there's a bit of heck going on over there. So keep an eye on that one. And I did actually mention for the next agenda, and I said it before the elections, I don't want to get into politics, whoever the elected MP is should come along and give us a presentation. So we'll see if that one happens. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Yes. Yes, just a slight update on the
Well, I was going to say that on the comment that Councillor Rogers had made about District Council being keen to work more closely with town and parish councils. I've had an email today actually to ask whether we would be involved in that. I'm assuming you're happy for us to engage in that kind of discussion, albeit, you know, I don't really know what that looks like yet. But I have, as Councillor Rogers said, asked if we can make that a daytime meeting rather than an evening. And I would have attended that meeting as well, which clerks are now welcome to go to, but we'd had a meeting every night that week, so I couldn't do another one. But I think you would be happy for me to engage in those discussions, so I'll bring further updates forward on that.
Okay, excellent. Any other updates from any other outside bodies? No. Item 21, to approve in principle the need for CCTV provision at the Station Road Garden area, subject to further discussion about costings at the Finance, Strategy and Management Committee. And then within your pack, you'll see that there's photographs of recent damage included. Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And well, I take issue with one of the words in this, to establish the principle for the need. We've done that. That need is there without any shadow of a doubt. The next thing is how. That's the thing. Now, I've been critical of the district council for a long time on CCTV. I was critical when they took 2 cameras out of us, out of Biddle East. Certainly, the Braddock's Hay one was, to me, a stupid idea, and I think the activity that's been going down there since that camera has been discontinued, the infrastructure still there, but the camera's not connected to the system, is, you know, it's there for everybody to see. The people that living in that area have had to put up with the antisocial behaviours, thefts from the shop, a whole host of stuff going on there. But I'm a little bit wary and concerned if we are going down the route of the town council actually paying for CCTV down there. I think we should be really pushing the district council, the portfolio holders, Bill Corley. I think we should write to them, to Bill Corley and David Smith. We had a meeting with David Smith when he didn't turn up because it was a bit of a mix-up in his diary, but we managed a Zoom meeting with him. I remember that. So it's not something they don't know about up there. And I think if we're going to have any CCTV down there, it needs to be the CCTV that's actually monitored. Now, the town council cannot afford to pay for that. But I think we could go some way along with helping the district council to actually get a camera in the first instance down there. I think we can say to the district council, here's the evidence. And I mean, this is just recently, there's been, you know, a whole host of other stuff that's gone on down there over the years. And when we did pass a resolution as well, I think, at this town council, that we wouldn't go ahead with any improvements down there until we got CCTV in place. Now, we've moved forward from that, and I'm not saying we should hold back on any of the things that we want to do. But I do think the route we should be going for, it's not the town council taking on more responsibility for CCTV down there, because it would be recorded rather than, you know, real time. So it needs to be hooked up to the district council's system, and I think that's what we should do. So I would propose we write to the portfolio, Bill Corley, and I'd write to Andrew Stokes as well, because Andrew Stokes knows about this issue, because he's got the scars on his back with the CCTV system that went in. It was an absolute disgrace with what went on, how long it took to get the company that they'd actually chosen to do it to actually get the job up and running. And I'm not 100% certain whether it's 100% what they want now. I'm not up there anymore. So I would propose, Chair, that Mr. Mayor, that we write to District Council, Andrew Stokes, David Smith, and Bill Corley, and perhaps have a meeting with them, whether it be Zoom or here or whatever, and say, look, this is what we want, this is what we're doing down there. It's what the town council is spending. And without CCTV, there's a grave danger that we're throwing good money after that. Chair.
Councillor Harper.
Chair. First of all, I'm 100% behind what Kevin has said, because we did have this debate when we were downstairs in the hall, if I remember correctly, and when Jill was on about that, you know, having the fountains of the business. So it goes back a fair while, this does, and we don't seem to have moved very far at all. But with regards to funding, I just wonder if we can't tap the crime commissioner up. Well, it is a criminal offence, isn't it, that's going on down there, where things are getting damaged. And he reckons he's got fair enough, well, tidy pockets to help us out, or help the community out. So I think we should call his bluff and ask him for some money. Thank you.
Yeah. Just as a little bit of point of information from what I know, there are still some outstanding legacy issues with the service provider, which are in the process of being resolved. There has gone what's called an IED, an independent executive decision, gone to the cabinet member to consider to actually move the CCTV issue forward. And I am aware that following the meeting which we had here, then there is an acknowledgement that there is a shortfall of CCTV provision provided by Stafford Smalllands District Council. Based on the historic numbers of cameras we had to what we've got now. So in that context, there is a degree of certainly sympathy and acknowledgement to the situation which we've got. So I personally think your proposal, if there was a seconder to that proposal, seconded by Councillor Harper, is the initial way to go forward, to give that little bit of space to make sure we can get this sorted out before we have to make, you know, the ultimate decision if we go it alone ourselves. Are there any Councillor Redfern?
Yeah. I'm certainly not going to vote against the proposal. However, I don't think CCTV of itself is necessarily going to solve all the problems that perhaps sometimes people think it does do. So just be aware that it part, I would suggest, an overall strategy, which should also include a greater police presence in the area, etc. So the two work in conjunction.
Very, very valid comments and noted. Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So if there's no other, oh, councillor Smith, I was going to go to the vote, but councillor Smith is.
Just to note as well that I know that there are some big councillors that are campaigning and trying to put forward some CCTV provision for some toilets that get vandalised a lot. So if that doesn't get brought up again, you know, we need to be advocating that if they're going to consider funding for that, that they need to also middle projects as well.
Right.
If that's it, I was happy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, that's a valid point and it shows the urgency. So this is a very urgent situation. I mean, you know, the bench is opening in September. So, you know, we need some kind of cover of some kind of some type. So it becomes very urgent. Well, we've got to go on, councillor Jackson.
If the proposal gets carried and it's the word I don't use very often here, can it go forthwith?
I think it's got it. I think the validity of the councillor Wood, just to finish this debate off.
We've got a Cabinet Alliance leadership team meeting 2 weeks' time, and I think, as well as writing to Bill, I think it's incumbent on us.
Put it on the agenda.
Cabinet members who sit on that to put that forward at the Cabinet meeting as well.
We'll do the letter and we'll put it on the agenda and see what response we get. See what. Councillor Garvey, and then I'll close this down because I think we know which direction. I know.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was just actually really just checking clarification here. The statement was made at the beginning of this that the need for the provision has already been ascertained, that we do that. This is actually requesting approval in principle. So are we accepting approval in principle that we need the provision subject to the request for the funding from the district council? If that clarify, please.
Yes, I think there's, you know, the CCTV, in my view, the CCTV provision is a service of the district council. And really, we should be, you know, as the proposal is, you know, we should be pushing the district council to provide the service which the town council on behalf of the residents of Biddulph require. There's nothing in sending that letter which negates going forward and having the costings for, so we've got to me, we've now got a two-track approach, which to me seems eminently sensible. So we accept, so as far as I'm saying, we're accepting this principle, but we're also putting pressure on the service provider to provide the service, which I don't think is an unreasonable position to be in, listening to the comments and debate. And just for fairness, I will let Councillor Rogers come back if he's got something.
Very quickly. Yes, it said, well, get something down there. But I don't think it hurt on the unveiling of that bench to put signs CCTV in operation anyway. You get it all over the place and it's a little deterrent if it just cures.
And strictly speaking, it is an operation in a wider area. So yes.
One incident, just a sign.
Okay.
Thanks for clarification, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. So we've had a proposer. It was seconded by Councillor Harper. Can we go to a vote on that, please?
Can I just be clear what the proposal is?
The proposal is to write the portfolio holder.
Proceed with CCTV provision, but we are writing a letter to Councillor Corley and Andrew Stokes to tell them what we want to.
Yeah, Chair, I just feel that the town council is being stretched, providing services that other people should be provided. And I think we until we come to an impasse where the district council said, no, definitely not going to do it, and then we perhaps come back then. But at this moment in time, I still think there's a bit of light in a bit of legs in the arguments that the district council should be providing that down there. Like I say, the history's all there. They take 2 cameras away from us, we could at least get one back to start with. And I think the district council should be doing that.
Some point of information, actually, I only just realised this. I'm actually out all day with David Smith. We're going to see a big company in Staffordshire Moorlands to look at their decarbonisation plans, which I'm not sure if you know they've got yet. But so I've got plenty of time to talk to them and see where the land lies. Right, okay, so
It's just a point of clarification. It probably touches on what Councillor Garvey just said. The motion is to approve in principle the need for CCTV provision at the station, which I think we've ensured that there is a need and we need to do it. How we achieve that comes later.
yes, but not too much late. Comes later, but expeditiously. Yes. So we've had a proposal, we've had a seconder. Can we have a show of hands? No, we've finished. Yeah, that's approved.
Can we just clarify exactly what we're voting on here? Because what the chief officer said, I don't think is what chief officer said, I don't think is what our fellow councillors have said. We are approving in principle the need.
Yes.
But in addition, writing to the district council. Is that?
Yes.
Sorry.
We're approving the need, but we've also acknowledged that the service provider is the district council. So we're writing to pressure the district council to make a decision. Parallel to that, we've got the potential for going to our own system, but we've got 2 lines of attack, so to speak.
And the Police and Crime Commission.
And the Police and Crime Commission actually funds the community safety partnership, or whatever it's called, at Staffordshire Moorlands District Council. So that is where the funds will come from, whether it's through this channel through the district council, or whether we can get some direct funds, but by hook or by crook, we've got to ensure that Biddulph gets its fair share of the proceeds of crime funding from the Police and Crime Commission. There's no doubt about that.
So you don't want information at Finance Strategy Management?
I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't have the information at the Finance Strategy meeting, because by that stage we will have a steer and an update. So I don't see any reason why we shouldn't have. It allows us that parallel 2-track pathway.
Yeah.
The people who should be providing it, we've got our first go at them to see if they can provide it and they're prepared to provide it in the timely manner. But there should be no reason to hold up a twin track approach. So we've got an alternative. Plan B, I think it's called, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so moving on to section 22, accounts and finance, to approve accounts to be paid in July 2024. And you have a list of expenditure over £500. Any, Councillor Jackson?
Sure. On page 4 it is, fourth one down. If you don't know, and it wouldn't surprise me if you didn't know, what is a pit prop assembly and SIM card replacement for the lift?
It's a safety device which goes under the lift to stop it from crushing the person working below.
That's what it says here. Is that what it is?
That's the person who's working on the lift and being crushed. It's a pit. You're in the pit, the lift pit. It's a prop.
You learn something every day.
So it's not the NCB then?
No, but it's still a pit prop.
Yeah.
Different type of pit prop. It still props up a pit.
Yeah, well, never mind.
And just while I'm on my feet, on page 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the bottom, SMDC annual premises fee, town hall front, £70. What is that? Is that little strip of land that they own? Again, I don't expect you to have it off the top of your head, but.
Oh no, that's the licence. So we've got a licence to provide alcohol at events. So that's just our annual licence.
And we pay that every year.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll make that clear.
Councillor Rogers?
Yeah, it's not for discussion at the moment. That very first one, I won't read out the figure because I realise we're live, but the gas bill for this town hall in a hot summer's day, we've got to sort something out, haven't we, somewhere?
Yeah. He's the man.
Sort of a plan. There's a couple of obstacles, but there's sort of a plan. It's the direction of travel anyway. Okay, expenditure less than £500, which is, well, you've gone past page 6, so you've included those, and the credit card bill. And to approve, section B, approve supplementary accounts to be tabled. Now, I haven't got a copy of these at this moment in time, but
Here's one.
just quickly. So supplementary accounts, expenditure over £500, councillor Smith.
Just on the supplementary accounts, I know I've asked this previously, but are we able to get a stationery supplier? Maybe try and find someone local for all of the things that we get off Amazon, because from a ethical point of view, I keep seeing Amazon all over our accounts paying, and it just makes me a little bit uncomfortable. No more than that.
That's noted. And
Yeah,
that concludes meeting.
Proposal second.
Oh, can we have a proposal and a second to accept those accounts? Councillor Hart as the proposer, Councillor Jackson as the seconder. Can we have a show of hands, please? That's accepted unanimously. And at 6:59, meeting closed.
Well done.